Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let's try that again. I knew I was going to miss something. I knew it. I knew it. Absolutely knew I was going to miss something. Apologies about that. I've got everything ready to go. I just didn't plug in the mic. So let's try that again, shall we? Welcome to the United Devil channel with me, JB. I hope we're all doing really well today. Let me know if the sound is okay. I think it should be. I think it should be good. Now it's coming up on my. There you go. Right, amateur hour. That's what this is. Amateur hour. Hope we're all doing really, really well on. Let's try that again. Thursday, the 7th of July. Hope we're all doing really, really well today. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are in the world, football's coming thick and fast. Watch along against Fiorentina coming up on the weekend. Championship UK. Thank you, Chief. Championship coming up on this weekend. Premier League next season. Things are moving thick and fast. Danny B, legend of the chat. Chief Herb, legend of the chat. Welcome, Neil. Big up to you, everybody who is in the chat today. So it's nice today to have a little bit of a different show. I've just been the kind of the COVID is starting to go away, thank God, but it's leaving me. So if I sound a bit funny, keep sniffing, which I will try not to do. It's just honestly, it's bugging me. It just will not go away. Anyway, so it's all been kicking off thick and fast. We'll go through some stuff today. You can. This is today. This I'm going to talk through some stuff, but I think it'll be really good again to start talking through the plays potentially that we're going to go for. Again, we can talk about some of the stuff that's happening behind the scenes from Fabrizio, from Jacobs, from Ben Jacobs, Fabrizio, Ornstein. We can go through all that as well, where we are, where we think we are, so we can have a kind of nice sort of childish show today, and not necessarily talking about one thing. We can go on. We can talk about Baleba as well, because I think there's a really interesting update. Some stuff on Shesco still, some quite sad things that we can talk about that in regards to Newcastle, and I do think it's quite desperate on their behalf as well. So a jam-packed show. I'm glad that we're all here together. Geordie fans are melting down on Talk Sport. I feel badly. One thing I will say, if you're new here, I've just put some rules into the chat. I think just to keep us focused. I am not a dictator. This is a fantastic chat. This is more so for new people. I'll always say this, I'm not a dictator. I encourage healthy chat. I encourage different views and opinions, as hopefully the chat will allude to that. It's your show. As long as we're kind of on topic-ish, I don't mind if we kind of shift around a little tiny bit. Because there are other things in the world that we can talk about, so I'm quite happy on that. The only thing that I will ask is obviously last couple of shows there's been quite a few links in there as well, so let's try and cut down on those links, because ultimately if you're drawn away to the links, it basically means that you're not watching and you're not contributing to this amazing channel with this amazing chat. Again, don't forget to like, favourite and subscribe. Well on the journey to 7,000. Last count, I think we are quite reasonably close to 7,000. We're pushing hard on it. This community is fantastic. I'll get on with it because people have complained to me that I just don't get on with it. So I will do. So where are we? Let's start off, I think, with the easy stuff first. Baleba. We can talk about that towards the end, I think, because I think that's a little bit more sort of complex, really. And we can talk about all that. But I want to talk about something that's not made me smile, but to go back to what Chief Herb said. So Newcastle fans and TalkSport and everyone else is basically, and this started yesterday with Jeff Stelling and Townsend on TalkSport, whereby Stelling started off basically just saying they basically had a transfer show and basically alluding and just allowing everybody to go in on us. Effectively, giving false information saying that Shesco's going to cost £80 million. That's simply not the case. Wickfoot is in there, legend of the chat as well. I know I keep saying it, Wickfoot, but I will come back to you, my friend. I've just been really, really busy. Sorry for not tuning in. You, mate, it's all there. You're welcome to the chat. We miss you when you're not here, my friend. I'm glad you're here. So I'm glad you're back today. Neil says, Chelsea talk about Garnacho. I only want to pay 35 million. Yeah, Neil, that is on my list of things to talk about, my friend, and we can get around to that. So thank you for bringing that into the show. Newcastle fans are, and again, TalkSport pretty much just let them just kind of have a moan and a rant, basically saying that they're in the Champions League, they're a big club, etc. We're on the way down, they're on the way up. Why would anybody want to sign for us, etc. All that nonsense and noise. Same today. Newcastle fans are on the moan and the whinge, and I get it. I really do get it from their perspective. I mean, some of their fans. So there's a YouTube channel. I'm not going to name because I don't think that's fair, but it's really funny. I will do, buddy. It's really interesting. Really interesting that how their fans, and not everybody, but there's the same as us, really. But the most vocal fans are the ones that really have a problem with us, and the acceptance that ultimately, and it's a rhetoric within the media that gets filled, is that we're a club on the way down. Everybody wants to banter us, and the media, as we've spoken about this, want us to fail. Now, irrespective of that, Chelsea can suck an egg. I agree with you on that one. So, update news. So, an entourage for Newcastle, can you believe, are still in Leipzig, waiting around, hoping that we fumble this deal. And that's been confirmed that's Plettenberg, that's out there, that's for everyone to see. Chelsea, so Newcastle are still out there waiting for Shesco in case we fumble the deal. So they're hanging around like a bad smell, desperation, waiting for us to fumble the deal, and that is ridiculous. So where we are with Shesco, I think the Shesco deal is going to get done. I think the problem with holding it up at the moment is we love to argue over a couple of £1 million, 2 to 3 million. Haven't seen anything about the wages yet. See, the thing is, it's not our fault. You can't meet the wages. If you say we get leaky roofs, no Champions League, and we're washed up, isn't that embarrassing? You still can't sign the players that you want. Exactly that. So I am waiting for the wages to see where we are around that. I'd love to know what you think the wages will be on this one. It's not whether we think it or not. Ultimately, if United fumble Shesco, it will be the biggest fumble of all time. It will literally be, the football is on the goal line. There's no keeper in sight, and we basically managed to boot it behind us. We're not going to fumble this deal. The deal is there to be done. The deal was done. They're just, I get it. I really, really get it. They've worked hard on this deal, and it's not nice to go back with your tail between your legs, but that is where they are. So Shesco is going to get done. It needs to get done. Amarin needs it to get done. It needs to get over the line so he can come and play against Arsenal and hopefully score a hat-trick. Now, where this alludes to, and we can now go talk about the Garnacho and the Højlund thing. So basically, where we're at now is that Højlund is now open to move away. AC Milan, German clubs, his preference is to move back to Italy. I think it's felt that Garnacho feels like he's now being forced out of the club, and I get it. I do, whether we like it or not. Some of us, and I've said this, and I can't be a hypocrite on this. Well, there's two parts of this. Well, you wouldn't say that if he's yours, would you? Exactly. So, what I did say is I think we should keep Højlund if we're not going to get another striker. If Højlund goes, then I don't think we'll get another striker in. I demand, and I think that we do need another striker in. I think we will utilise Cunha and or Mbeumo in that position. I think that's the wrong thing to do, but I can see why they would do that. I think it's a play to raise money. I think we're looking around 30 million. That is the price coming out that we will accept. Ultimately, we would be prepared to take a book loss, but to get the funds in, to look basically. I think we're hey James Blunt, Tulip Plays, legend of the chat. I hope you are doing well. So I hope we are looking to get money in now. Højlund, I think, would be a book loss if we're looking to loan, sell to buy. I think that's where we're. I think Højlund will be forced out, but I do think that we need a striker again. Versatility within that squad. OB as a backup and one of Cunha or Mbeumo maybe to cover up, because we are stacked at number 10. So I think that we do have a surplus of number 10s. So I think that we possibly could use one of those in there as well. So Højlund looks like he's going to go to AC Milan or another Italian club. German clubs, RB, like him as well. So I think ultimately he's going to be forced out. Now, one of the things I did say, to go back, because I try to remember the things that I say. I can't pronounce your name. I'm not even going to... Javanshi, and I apologise. Hello, my friend, if I pronounce your name wrong. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. It's an embarrassment of mine. I can barely speak English as it is. You got to sing that, JB. Then I saw his pace. Now I'm a believer. If I could sing, maybe I would, but I'm not with this block nose. Maybe if he comes and he scores or he does something, then maybe I will sing that. But let's see, shall we? So, I think it's sad with Højlund. I did say that a big club would have given Højlund 2 years and then push him out. And I think that is ultimately what we're doing. I think we got carried away. Maybe not all of us. I think the media certainly did. Højlund had 2 okay games, scored a really, really good goal. And, you know, that's pretty much been his highlight since he's been here. I think those was probably his best 2 games. Do I want him to go? JB, your English is okay. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that. I was kidding, by the way, but thank you for confirming that, my friend. We have to be. This is exactly. So I've always thought this, that Højlund, if he was at a City, Liverpool, you look at what Liverpool has done. They've left, I would hope so, low. So Liverpool do it, City do it, you know, even, for example, like an Alvarez, really, really good striker, could have been a number 1 striker. But City sold him. So sometimes big clubs, that is exactly what they do. Fax tulips, collars up, Cantona face. Exactly that. So Højlund, I'm disappointed for him. I'm disappointed that I do think we needed another striker. I had an image of these 2 young bucks, these 2 young guns trying to push each other, but ultimately Amarin is trying to keep I think he's trying to keep a lean squad, but he's also trying to keep a competing squad as well. So I think Højlund on his way is not a bad thing. I think he's going to be forced out. I think he is going to go. This has been confirmed by Fabrizio of the last couple of days as well. So it's sad to say. I do believe he'll go. Whether he goes on a loan to buy, prices are around about 30 million. I think that would be a steal. I think ultimately he could be good. I think he'll go to Italy, and maybe that is where he'll go. So good luck to him. I really want Rasmus to do well. It's sad that it hasn't worked out for him here, but I really do wish him all the best. Best of luck. Garnacho. So to come all the way back to Neil. Thanks for the comment, Neil. So Chelsea are looking now. This has been confirmed again by Ornstein, Fabrizio, anybody in the know. Basically says that Chelsea they are playing their hand. Of course they are. So this was the plan the whole long. As we've spoken about on here, we've alluded to this. Rambo Waters. Hello, my beloved United fans. Rambo Waters, one of the best names still. I hope you're doing really well. Hojlund was always worth 40 million. I do think we overpaid. I think we paid 62, 64 million for him. Did we overpay? Probably yes, and I'm hoping those were the last of the sort of old panic deals. Ten Hag, we can talk about him again at some point, but I just want these sorts of players gone now. If we are going to get a Baleba, and we are going to go and try to get these more world-class players, that's the past. That's the then. And this is what we need to focus on the now, and then we can talk a little bit after this about realistically where we should be finishing. I think we alluded to this. What did he say? I've been banned from this channel, and I don't know why. I know most people in here for years. I never get banned. I don't think I banned you, mate. Are you banned? This is account if I talk to JB. Did you say something? I don't know. I mean, I one of the things that I will say is I don't like to ban people. I really don't like to. So if you have been banned, I don't know, was it an accident maybe? But I don't know, my friend. But if that's happened in error, I can only apologise. Obviously, you're welcome here, but I really, really, really don't know on that one. But you're welcome here. This is an alt account. Interesting. I don't know, my friend. I don't know. But you're welcome here. So unless obviously I have put some rules at the top of the chat, I think it's time as we get bigger, and we do start to chat a little bit more, just to keep it flowing and give everybody an opportunity to have their opinion and have their say. One of my big things on here is that I'm not a dictator. I do try. I do need to keep it in a line to give everybody a fair chat, as long as we all respect each other's views. I will try not to ban people. I don't like doing it, but as long as we are all respectful, we can disagree from time to time. I quite like disagreeing or having different views and discussing that opinion. Those opinions. I'm not going to hold those opinions against you. Hopefully you don't hold my opinion against me. But it's really nice to see with the debates that we have on here about actually at some point things do come true and things happen, aka Shesco, Baleba possibly as well. So get in your player names, get in the chat. No worries, I've messaged you, JB. You know who I am. Maybe, my friend. I'll have a look at that, buddy. Don't know how that's happened, my friend. Yeah, I'll take a look after the show. I think maybe it was an accident, my friend. So I will jump back on. JB, who would you partner with Baleba if he joins? Well, who would I partner? I think Amrin will partner him with Bruno. Bruno will be his partner, but that is not up for debate. It's not whether I want Fernandes. The fan base wants Fernandes. Fernandes is going to play. The pivot will be Bruno and Baleba. Those two will be the pivot. Fernandes is going to play. You don't turn down the sort of money that United did and not play him. So he's going to play. He's going to play in that role. Baleba will be that defensive midfielder. Who would I personally play in there? I'd probably get someone else, maybe like a Hojlund. I'd get someone else in there, but Fernandes is what we've got for now. So, and I think that Fernandes's ability to play number 10 as well, I think will stand him in good stead. So, because I think if we're not going to get another striker, what we need to have is a cover. So, Mbeumo Acuna for me is going to be that cover. So then it just means that Fernandes then can push up to number 10. I don't know then who would play in that pivot. Ugarte maybe. So it just gives us that strength and depth. Baleba and Mainu, I worry about Mainu. I really worry about Mainu. The Mainu this season before last, Hojlund's lack of pace worries me, and the same with Wharton. I mean, we're not going to go for Hojlund yet or Wharton, so that's no concern of mine just yet. I believe it is a replacement for Casemiro, but we're acting early to get him done now, and that's a good point. That's one of the comments that I wanted. One of the points I did when it comes. So we might as well. I'll pivot from Garnacho for now, and we can pivot to Baleba. So, Baleba, where we are with that is, Rambo, I think you're spot on, my friend. I think that we are getting him early because have we played a blinder here? Because we know next season we're not in the Champions League, and we all know next season Liverpool, Chelsea, City will be all over this deal. Wharton, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with that. I think Liverpool are still trying to buy players, but Baleba, for me, we may have lucked out in terms of maybe they've slept on this one, and they've slept in it on the basis that maybe we've played a blinder because people think that we don't have money to spend, and maybe we've sort of hung around and waited to now. That's what I'd like to believe, maybe, or believe, is that if we don't do this deal now, we're never going to get it done. Now, are we going to dip into next year, into the money for next year? And like I've always said, or one of the thoughts that I've had in my head, is if we don't go for Champions League or we don't go for a European position, we're going to be left behind. So is it almost worth taking a punt? That's what big clubs do. Take a punt on Baleba now. Maybe spend some of the money next year. So you speculate to accumulate, get into those Champions League spots, and there you go. You know, we it almost seems like we've done the correct thing. So we can never be in this halfway out. You know, maybe we're going to get Europe, maybe we're not. We needed to control. You know, when we were talking in the West Ham game and talking in there, one of the things that I alluded to was like when we were talking about optimism. And we were optimistic and like hopeful that we can't live in that. We can't hope that teams in and around 6th, 7th, and 8th were going to fall off. You know, that's not what big teams do. Big teams go on by players, and then optimistic. Okay, we know we're going to finish 4th, but we're optimistic that we might finish 3rd, or we're optimistic that we're going to win the league. We're optimistic that we're going to win a cup, and you do that by buying players, and that is what I think we're starting to do. Is we are optimistic that we may finish 3rd, but we're going to go for 4th or 5th spot. That is what the feeling is now for me. Is that if we get these players, that is what we're saying. We're saying we're going for Champions League, and that is what we're doing. So we're almost shifting that optimism and saying, oh, we're hoping that, you know, like the teams around us are gonna lose and not have a good season, and we're optimistic and we're full of hope and joy that we can win and we can polish this team up. No. Big clubs go and do business, and that is what we're doing. We're going out and doing business. So this is why I do believe that Baleba, we're trying to push this deal, because we know next summer we're out of that race. Now Brighton are trying to time down to another contract. I believe Baleba's salary is around 17.5k a week, which is absolutely ridiculous. So I think that Brighton are trying to get him to a new contract, trying to put a clause in that says you can be sold for next season, but we can't allow that to happen. If Baleba goes into next season, we don't get him. And this is why we have to act now, because we know that we're not going to get him next summer. So I do think we are going to go all out. The feeling is still that it's going to be a difficult deal to do. 100 million, I think, prices us out a little bit. I agree with Joel, another legend of the chat. It does sound like we need to sell to get this deal done. What I'm hoping for is that we've got just enough to get this deal done, and we get it done, because we know Garnacho ultimately will go. Pivot to the Garnacho thing. So Chelsea are hoping to lowball us 30 million. I think ultimately we'll deal in and around 45 million. Should we deal at 30? So if it means that we get Baleba, would you do the Garnacho deal for 30? So if it sort of means that, yes, we have to lowball to get this player out, but in exchange it means that we can get this player in now, is that a gamble and a risk? Yes, we take a hit. Yeah, we may not like it, but is it worth taking a sort of lowballed offer so we can go and get a potential world-class player now? So again, I think these are things that we can debate amongst ourselves, and these are, people will say yes. I'm of the opinion that Chelsea will try to lowball us, but at the same time, I think we need to hold our ground. I think 30 million for me is just a touch too low. Get him out for 45 million in a perfect world is worth 60. But I think for us to get deals done, I think that Garnacho needs to go to Chelsea. So where we are, Garnacho and Chelsea pretty much is where I think he's going to end up. Chelsea, and we've now entered talks with them. I think they're gonna try to lowball us. I think they're gonna try and do some dodgy deal or think that they can. Now that we're interested in the Baleba deal, key for me to Garnacho going for a good price is gonna be, if we can get Baleba agreed and done, even if we have to sell, if we don't let people know that we need to sell, we get this deal done first. Then Chelsea don't have a leg to stand on. They've got nothing to barter with. They either want the player or they don't. And then ultimately, then it's up to the player to find a move. So I do think if we play this right, we can get him before the Chelsea deal. Sancho has to go as well. So I think that there is money there to be made. I think these deals are going to get done. I think we're confident these deals are going to get done. So, and we need Baleba. And so I'm starting to think, as we discussed yesterday, from a logical perspective. That's all I can think about in this deal is we're going to try and get this deal done. That is what I believe. If Brighton are going to play hardball on like 100 million. Do we go for that, or do we try to get them down to 90? I think 85, possibly 90, but I think 90 we have to be comfortable. The club have to be comfortable on that deal, and I do agree that we'll need to sell to buy, but I'm hoping we can bluff our way out of it, try and get a deal done now, and then sell the place, so we can maximise the profits that we get in. I'll go back to chat for a little bit. Let's have a little look. Loads of chats in there. Where are we? I do agree with that. Baleba's legs can play Man Utd next to him. We can be a top midfielder partner. Exactly. I'm still of the opinion that I think that Man Utd still needs to grow a little bit in terms of a player. I think having a Baleba there, I think will do him the world of good. I think maybe they can push each other. I think Man Utd ultimately is one for next season. I just saw chatting there about Bruno being sold next summer. Yeah, I don't disagree with that as well. I think if Man Utd can maybe be a bit of an understudy to Fernandes, I do think Fernandes will go next season. I think it would be wise to get him gone for like 100 million next season, and then you can reinvest that money as well. So maybe we didn't need the money this summer. Maybe we do next summer, and Fernandes goes next summer. So again, I think this window was looking like a bust, and it looks like we're starting to pick up pace. Maybe this was the tactic the whole long. Maybe it's just luck that we've managed to do this now. So I think there are still things that can absolutely be done. We do need a proper wing back, and again, I've said that. I think a right wing back's needed, like a Dorgu. So we need a Dorgu on the right. And that's what I've always thought. Obviously, we're not going to get it done this year. I think we can soldier on for this year. Maybe we can kind of put square pegs in like a round hole this year. I think that's going to be one of the weak sides. I think our left and right sides, depending on the centre back on that side and the pairings on those sides, I think that people will get a lot of joy depending on who's fit and who's available in those left and right centre back and left and right wing positions. So I think, and with a combination of a keeper, if Onana's in goal, I think we could struggle potentially in those positions next season. It does sound like we need to sell to buy. I agree with you. I think we do need to sell to buy most positions. Remember, what was regardless, we will spend again next season no matter where we finish. You know why? Because we are Man United, and as a club we generate so much revenue, hated, adored, but never ignored. Remember, I like that. I do like that. I think people should never forget who we are. But I do think European football, don't forget, not having that will impact us. Because let's not forget, we do still have the debt. We do still have payments that have to be made. Revenue is still high. I think it will get higher. Wage bill has come down. But I do think we are gambling slightly. I think we're dipping into next year's budget, hoping that we'll get European football, because we have to. If we don't get European football next year, I think our budget will be impacted. We do need to spend. Potentially, to agree with you on that one, if Fernandes goes for like 100 million, I think if we get to next season, we've had a similar season to this one, Fernandes will have to be sold. Fernandes will have to be sold to balance the books. So we've almost got a contingency there, and I do think we will spend again. We need to spend again. We need depth. We need to provide a squad that can win a league. I demand we win a league. I think we all should. We all should demand to win that league. I think that's pretty much. I think you're right. I think we will spend next season, and we are hated, adored, but we're never ignored, because it's so true. We're not. We are the biggest draw in town, and always will be. Church Play says it has to be this summer, next summer. Exactly that. I 100% agree with you on that one. Baleba next season will be gone. And this is why I think that. Do I think we should spend 100 million on him? Probably yes. I do. I do think we need to get him at all costs. Some people may agree with that. Some people may disagree with that, and obviously that is your right to. And we can debate that here if you like. But I think sometimes you look at a player, you look at his stats. Of course, it's a gamble. Every player is a gamble. But Baleba, I really do believe is going to be the next big thing. So I'd hate to miss out on that one. The moment Brighton, if he signs a new contract, then that's done, and we do need to move on. But a good indicator for me of what we're trying to do is we do have the money there, and we are trying to do these deals. So it would be disappointing if we don't get him. But at the same time, it gives us an indication of what it is that we're trying to do, what it is we're trying to prepare. And my opinion has changed on this. If you'd have asked me yesterday, maybe the day before yesterday, my belief is that where do I think we would finish? My opinion would be somewhere 8th, somewhere 10th. My opinion is now is if we go for this player, as that we are going for 4th, 5th. I still think Chelsea are catchable. I think Chelsea have so many different players. They can buy all the players that they like, but I just feel that they're not quite there yet. So I do think Chelsea are catchable. I think 4th would be sensational, but I think we are going to go for that 4th and 5th position, particularly if we get this player. So I think my mind has changed on this one. Is that if we are going for these sorts of players and get a keeper, we've got to go for Champions League spaces. I think that's the only reason why you do this and spend this kind of money, is you go and you force your own luck, and that is what I think we're trying to do. Have a little look in the chat. Many chats. Have a little look. Jamie Vargas, welcome, my friend. If we get Baleba, would that allow him to be CDM while Bruno is attacking? Love your show, mate, all the way from Dallas. Thanks, buddy. Thank you for being here again, my friend. I recognise the name, of course. Yes, he will be a centre midfielder. I think he would be a amazing centre midfielder. Combative, action, fast, pace, quick, heading. I think he'll be fantastic. The more I think about it, the more I see the stats. Be an absolute legend, absolute just phenomenal player. Ridiculously good. I've got no doubts. There's some players in this life that you have no doubts on. I think the signings that we made so far, I think they've all been fantastic. And if we get this over the line, I'll have to sit here and say, well done to the footballing team there. We are talking about best in class, and if that's what we're trying to do, then we're starting to look like we are a serious football club again. So we still got the depth. Still not a Glazer fan in Ineos Jim, but from the footballing side, if this is what we're trying to do, then you've only got to applaud it. But we still got to keep an eye on what this club is overall. Chief Herb reject the 40 million deal before Garnacho, but might as well get rid of him ASAP. I think it's Chief Herb. I think it's a difficult one with that one, isn't it? I think that if we reject it outright and Chelsea call our bluff, but we need to sell him, which I think we do, Chelsea are going to try to lowball. I think this is why we need to get the Baleba deal done, because then it looks like we don't need the money, and that's what we almost need to do. We need to front it out. I think worst case scenario, 30 million. If we need the money, I'm not happy about it, but we get it done. And ultimately, if it means we get this player in, then just get him out of the club. He's worth 50 million when you're looking at age and what he's done in the Premier League already. He's worth that. There's only one team that he wants to go to. He's been tapped up, so we're almost forced into it. I don't like it. Chelsea that's what they do. I'm not a biggest fan of it, but sometimes you've got to do what you've got to do. You take a little bit of a hit, but if the benefit is so much more, then sometimes you've got to take a little bit of a hit. But I do agree with you. Chelsea, even if they get Xavi Simons this season, Premier League about to be lit. I know it's ridiculous. Chelsea are making so many moves, but you almost buy too many players. It takes time for them to bed into the squad. There's so many personalities in that squad as well. So Chelsea, I think, are a work. I think they've got some work to do, but once they do click, it's going to be they are gonna cook. But it's when they and if they manage to click together. So Chelsea are one I think definitely to watch out for. Freedom fighter Garnacho might as well retire from professional football. Garnacho's playing a dangerous game. He's petulant. I was always of the opinion with him that I didn't really want to see him go. I don't want to treat young players like that. But the way that he's treated the fans, I think, is disgusting. And I can't wait for him to go. I'd take Bruno for 50. I think he'll be priced at 100 next season. Age factor. Yeah, that chance. I think he'll go for. I still think he'll go for about 100 million. I think that's what he'll do next season. He's still young enough in terms of the Saudi league. His stature is still big enough. Cristiano, you think about that. I mean, he was still getting paid big, massive bucks at 36. So Fernandes, I think we'll still get in and around about like 100 million for him as long as he stays fit. I think he'll be all good for next season. Bruno is needed for one more season. Ahmad is a perfect right wing back against the bottom half teams, but it's not his fault. He's doing his best. I don't. My issue with Ahmad is that he's not strong enough, and I don't think he's very good at getting back. And when he does get back, he's not very good at tackling bigger players. And I think that was abundantly obvious. Now the problem with lower, not lower league, but lower positional, not as stronger in terms of club teams, they traditionally have bigger, stronger players who've come up from the Championship, that's a rough league. I mean, that is a rough ass league. So yes, they'll give away in pace, but not in power. That's a rough old league, and they'll be more than used to getting roughed up, kicked. So Ahmad, I think, will struggle against sort of Championship, bigger, stronger players than him. So he's not a right wing back, but if that's his position, he can only do well, and we can only support him on that one. Let's go for another couple of the chats. So Delo will be used against stronger teams instead of Ahmad. Joe, yeah, I think he'll be used more defensively. So I think wherever we play defensively against bigger teams, I think you're right. I think he'll be used. We are the Dallas Cowboys of the Premier League. Everyone loves to hate us. Exactly. I think that's a great analogy there. Corner kicker, Bruno. Captain, Bruno. Free kick taker, Bruno. Penalty taker, Bruno. Vice captain, Bruno. Bruno FC. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted Fernandes to go. I think we need to move on as a club. I think Fernandes does represent the past, but what I cannot be a hypocrite on this one. I still think Bruno is a stat padder, but he does score goals, he does contribute, he does assists, and when you do that, you know, you're still a fundamental part of this team. So I can't be a hypocrite on that one, but I still stand by the view. I still would have sold him. I still would have got a different captain. He's not captain material in my eyes. I think he's too petulant. I think he's he doesn't lead the team. He doesn't lead that team. He doesn't lead by example. He does go missing in the big games. He's proved that time and time again. So let's see if that can change this year, because we need him to step up and actually lead this team. But let's see. Let's give him a chance. Jamie Vargas, 5th place finish this season, and we'll get Champions League. I'm in agreement that if we get a Baleba, or what we're trying to do with this club, I think we are trying to get 5th. So again, my opinion now has changed on this thanks to everybody in this chat. My opinion on the position, whether I think it's possible or not, has changed for 2 factors. One, talking to you guys in the chat and the things that you say, and the things that we're trying to do on the pitch. So I do think that 5th is possible, and I think that is what we're trying to do. Go through some more chats. Bobby, hello Bobby, legend of the chat, my friend, absolute legend. God, we have got quite a few chats in today. This is why, for a true rebuild, he needs to go. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely does need to go. Niche fan, legend of the chat. Hope you're doing really well. Completely agree. It's Baleba now or never. Even Madrid could fit him in alongside Camavinga. Baleba is the best in the world. Imagine Camavinga. We missed out on him. What a player he would have been, eh? Imagine that would have been crazy. That would have been that would be crazy for them next season. Joe said Scotty nominated for Ballon d'Or. Do you know what? I think it's time And Joel, I think you're really right there. I think that's a really nice thing to say. And I think that's where I'd like to be on here. As much as maybe players are maybe the right player at the wrong time or not quite right. Scotty, I have to take my hat off to him, and it's just a massive well done to him. I think we should all give him a little bit of a clap. I think we should all give him a little bit of a nod. What a turnaround. Scotty Mack, what an absolute turnaround. I mean, if you've got a player that epitomises what we need at this club, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite again, I wanted him gone. I didn't think he was good enough in this team. Even when managers were picking him, Fergie was saying that he's a great player. I was like, no, he needs to go. He doesn't fit into the system. With hindsight, it now transpires that you look at the players and the petulance that he had around him, maybe in a better position. Maybe Amarin could have done something with him. I will hold my hands up and I'll happily say I think I was wrong on him. But what he's done for himself, I think, is amazing. He's a young lad. He's what really, really proud of him. Imagine a player that played for us for a number of years, whether we think he's good or not, took the punt, left his boyhood club, and then gone away to a different league, not only become the best player in that league, won a title, and now up for the Ballon d'Or. I think that's amazing, and I can only tip my hat to Joel. I think that's a cracking point to say here. I think Scotty, absolute a legend, mate. So well done. Only reason I'd keep Onana is to be an agent for Baleba. Yeah, I think Onana's going to stay. I do think he will, but I think Lamens will be the one to try to get him out. With Baleba, we'll get fourth. Baleba is better than Casido. Niche fan, I'm liking this. You are one of the ones that say that we are going to finish high up. You've always said that. I have to give you that. I still think fourth is a bit lofty. Fifth, I think if we get fifth from 15th to fifth, I think will be a phenomenal thing. So as long as we get into the Champions League spaces, I think that's a phenomenal season. And then we can push on from there. Chip says, I think Rodri, Rice, Pedri, Jude are currently better, but he's a top 10 for sure, top 3 of his age. Rodri, I think Rodri maybe on a bit of, he was injured. Obviously, world-class player, that cannot be disputed. Rodri might have another 1 or 2 seasons in him, but potentially, you know, but again, City and Pep have a way to do it, don't they? Rice, I do like Rice. Pedri again, you know, fantastic names. Jude. See, I'm. You know when players are world class, or you know when players are good, but you just don't like them. Like, I don't like Jude Bellingham. I'm just going to say it. I just don't like him. I don't think he's very good for England. I have no doubts that he's a world-class player. I have no doubts that he's great. And, you know, he's a young guy. He's tall, he's big, he's strong. But I don't like him. Never have liked him. But I appreciate that. I just don't like Jude Bellingham. Actually, my ultimate midfield would be Camavinga, Baleba, and Jude Bellingham. I get it. I do get it. But maybe it's every time I've seen him play. Hello, sorry to be late. G Best 1007. No, welcome. Richard Hawkins. I don't know that Højlund will leave though. For his own sake, he should. Richard Hawkins, I think he's gone, my friend. I really do. I really do think he's gone. I think he's been forced out. I do. I think that Shesco's here. In an ideal world, we'd have as many players as we can, but Hojlund and again, this is sort of coming from Ornstein, Fabrizio, that he's going to go. I mean, Fabrizio has been saying this now for quite some time. I admire the willingness to fight. We need more players like that to be here. But ultimately, Højlund has been proven not to be good enough for this club. I admire the the tenacity that he's shown in the last couple of games. He's scored a single goal. He's looked better. Everybody jumped all over that. Not necessarily in this chat. We always said that we caveat that with pre-season. I never thought he was good enough. I wanted him to stay, potentially. But I think that if he needs to go, he needs to go. I think there is no point in it. Amrin's not going to use him. I think Amrin maybe would like him as a backup player, but for Hojlund's sake, I want to see him do well. He's a young kid. He can go play his trade elsewhere, and I really hope he can go away and, become the striker that he wants to be. If he stays, I'm happy with that, but I think I'd rather the money and go and get a Baleba, go and get a goalkeeper, go and get another position. I think holding on to these players for sentimentality is not what big clubs do. And that is what we need to remove this away from this club. We are now need to be a club who winning things. I demand we win the league every single season. Every season we don't is a failure. But this is what we need to do. These players that are not good enough, they need to go. So we can't get rid of everybody this season. But hopefully, surely, we will be just getting rid of these players. So whether they're your favourite player, but they're not doing well, they need to go. And they need to go fast. And we need to go into the next player and the next player and act like a big club again. Where are we? I don't think Hojlund will leave. Rambo says we could easily get 100 million from Angry Rasmus. Jaden Garnacho, Marty Garnacho with their wages plus money. Yeah, and I do think Rambo, I think you smashed it on the head there, my friend. I think that is what we're going to do. I think that is exactly what we're going to do, my friend. I swear to God, Chelsea kids will lose their eyebrows next season after the Garnacho deal. I think so. I don't know where he plays in that team. I absolutely have no idea where he plays in that team. He wants to go to the World Cup, but I just don't know how. I don't know how he does it. I have no idea how he manages to get into that team. I would let Garnacho go on a free if I got rid of him. I wouldn't be adverse to kicking him out, to be honest with you. But we need the money, so I don't disagree though. I want him gone. Me, I'd 100% keep Hojlund. I truly believe he will be a 30-goal scorer. That's an interesting take in it. I don't see it myself. I don't. I just don't see it myself. I think that if you're going to score 30 goals a season, you need to be like a Haaland. I think that. I think to get 30 goals a season, you're talking Haaland level. No, I'm not disputing what you say, and I think you could be proved right. But we're talking Haaland numbers. You could have a season. There have been players over the last, not many players by the way, over the last couple of years who've scored 20 goals. I think if you're getting 20 goals in the Premier League, I think you're doing well. There's not many players that get 30 goals a season. I mean, if you're talking about spreading it over like the Champions League, etc., then yes, of course you can. But I think if you're getting 20 goals in the Champions League, I mean, you are elite. I've only seen a couple of players score 30 goals in the Premier League, like Alan Shearer. I think has Henry done it? I don't even think Henry's done it. Shearer, Kevin Phillips. Did Rooney get it as well? I mean, there is not a lot. Do I see him scoring 30 goals a year across multiple competitions? Maybe, but he's not going to be doing that for us, I'm afraid. I think he needs to go. Again, I'd keep him as backup, but I don't think we will. I don't think we can. I think there's too much money invested in him. There's too much money paid on him. So I think we need to utilise that money and go elsewhere. So I don't disagree with it. I think that's a very bold statement to make, and I hope you're correct. And I do hope for him. I'd love him to do well. I'd love him to become a world-class striker. I think that'd be fantastic for him. But I don't know on that one just yet. Not forgetting running out of bleached hair. Chilip, I'd sell Fernandes to Saudi for 70 million. I think you'll get your wish next year, my friend. I think if he has an absolute terrible, trashy season between now and Christmas, I can see him being gone at Christmas. I don't think he will, but I can see him being gone at Christmas. If he has a bad start to the season, he plays like he did, and he's awful. The fans will be on his back, and I think he'll be gone. But fingers crossed, I will be supporting him this season, and let's hope that he can have a really, really good season. Having George Best as your pick doesn't make me believe Hojlund is a 30-goal striker, mate. Let's be nice, Chief. Bestie is a ledge. Not having that, I mean, that doesn't really mean anything, and we're all entitled to our opinions. I mean, I've said some silly things in the past. If that's what somebody believes, they're going to score 30 goals a season. To us, that might seem crazy. You know, me sat on here saying that we're going to get Shesco, listening to some random guy who is not a Fabrizio, who predicted that Shesco was going to come to the club. We're quite a brand new channel, really, and I'm here saying that I think we're going to get Shesco. We all need to chill, and we're going to get Shesco. Some people probably thought, what a massive idiot. It's proven right. So, you know, who would have thought Scotty Mac would have gone and done what? If you'd have told me, right, that Scotty McTominay, when he left us, would be up for the Ballon d'Or the next season, I would have laughed you out of the world. But these things happen, right? So I think everyone's entitled to that opinion. I'd love to score 30 goals for us. I'm not going to see it. I can't see it. But stranger things have happened. Leicester winning the league. Stranger things have happened, eh? 30 goals where in League 2, maybe. Yeah, let's let people have their opinions. You know, I think that people are entitled to have their opinions, whether it seems crazy to us or not. And again, we can debate it out on here, but I think that people should be free to have that opinion. And you know, I think that, you know, let's let people be free to have their opinions. And do you know what? If he did come back and score those goals, then more than welcome to come back on here and go, look, guys, you know, I said that, didn't I? So we'll get 100 for him. Neil says, cannot sell Bruno if he does not want to leave. That's a fair point, but I think, Neil, many players don't want to leave. Ultimately, there are ways to force people into leaving. There are players like a Casemiro, can't force out the door. But again, if there are no buyers, a Nana, can't force them out the door. If there are players out there that don't want to leave, they want to sit on the butt, you can't really do much about that. But Fernandes, if we want Fernandes out, I think he'll go. Just don't see anyone they want him for the Club World Cup. Exactly. Bobby, what did I miss? Bobby, give you an overview, is Newcastle, unbelievably, still out there for Shesco, just hanging around like a bad smell, basically just trying to see if we fumbled the deal. Well, we're not going to fumble the deal. We're waiting to basically do like a here we go, and then that's going to be done. Baleba, it's a now or never. We need to get this done this year. I do believe that we have money just about to do this deal, but we do need to sell. Højlund looks like he's going to go to Italy. I think he's resigned to the fact he's going to go. We are going to force him out. Garnacho is Chelsea or bust. I think that's where he's going to go. That's where he wants to go. So we're going to try and do that deal. But basically, it's a trying to be like a low ball offer. I think that's where we pretty much are with that. I think that we need to get deals done. I do think we need to sell to buy to balance. I think we need to sell to balance the books. I think we can get this Baleba done without sales, but we will need to sell. Dexter says, right back trying to rinse us. RB trying to rinse us more. Potentially. Oh, let's have a little look. Dehections updated that. So have a little look. Shesco's flying. He's flying in on the plane at 5 o'clock. I'm not sure if it's late to get the medical done today. I'd love to see that. The Hexian says, Jacob said the offer was 82 up front with 2.5 and add-ons. The 90 mil stuff was RB prior to the United bid. Yeah, we're going to get the deal done. Whatever we pay is the price that we pay now. But as we've said, we've moved on to the next deal. So I'm not too concerned about the price. I mean, we don't have to pay it. We've got to get the deal done now. So, I mean, I'm not too bothered about a mil here, 2 mil there. We do just have to get this done. Medical could be done today. Let's see. Neil Driscoll, Bellingham is overrated. Bellingham for me, I just don't like him. I just don't like him as a player. Is he an overrated player? I don't think he is, but you can not like a player in terms of for whatever reason you don't like the way he runs. You just think he's like you could think that. I'm just not as big a stan. I think he's believing in his own hype. I think he's quite injury prone. I think he's going to be a very injury prone player. But there's no. You don't go to Real Madrid at his age and do what you do unless you are a world-class player. And, it is what it is. This is perfect, Joel. I can't wait to see the details once the medical papers come out. New Carrington 2, that downward cooking. Yeah, I've not seen that yet. I'd be quite keen to see that. It didn't do anything. We can thank Vivell and Wilcox for this. Yeah, I don't think we can underplay. We can't underplay their influence here. So Vivell, this is the third time. This will be the third time that he's managed to sign him. So it's all thanks to him. Got to give you credit, Joel. We're tuned here, so thanks for spreading the news. Exactly, my friend. Apparently, wages for Shesco are 150 a week with that Champions League. I tell you what, if that is the price, I'm really pleased with that. Really pleased with that. What I mean is George Best is part of our trinity, not like Hojlund could ever live up to. No, I'm not calling anyone out on that. Okay, Bestie was a legend. I mean, played drunk half the time. I mean, just absolute legend. Anana is on the phone. The Hexian Anana is on the phone to Baleba. That would be amazing. So Ronin's in the chat. Once concerned if Højlund leaves this summer, who backs up Shesco, and if Xerxes shifted into that role, who covers for Cunha left number 10 position? Ronan, I've had the same. We've been saying this as well on this stream. If we don't have another striker, Amarin likes a versatile squad, so I think we've got enough to cover the number 10s, and I think we've got just about enough to cover a striker. If Højlund does go, I wouldn't be adverse to a free deal, just somebody on a free just to cover that position. Better not be Calvert-Lewin. I'm still convinced Calvert-Lewin is potentially still there on a free deal. I will not support that signing in any circumstance whatsoever. Baleba and Yoro are great friends. Niche fan, you're just making this better and better and better. Here we go in from David Ornstein, the Hexian. Let's have a little look, see where we are. Let's have a little look. Let's have a little look. Okay. Okay. Right. Interesting. Okay. Let's have a little look. Where are we? Let's see what we got. Ross Harwood, United selling Garnacho, receiving money. That's good old Ross Harwood. I would check Ross Harwood out if you've not seen him already. I mean, I been impressed with him. Breaking news. You're right. Fabrizio's come in on this as well. Here we go. It's a here we go live. Now I don't even need to do another stream. Okay, don't even need to do another stream. Give us a like if you're live. Give us a like, favourite, subscribe if you're live. The fact that we are live when this happens. So breaking news. Here we go. Shesco. Here we go from Fabrizio. Club to club. 76 million plus 8.5 in add-ons. So 76 million is JB start a new live stream with the title. Here we go, Shesco. I'd love to. Here we go. The views will flood in. Yeah. That's a good point, actually. Okay. I think that's a good point. So what I'm going to do, gang, as we're talking, is I am going to do a here we go for Shesco. I don't know how to push us all over there. But let me grab, because I think it's really important for us to do this, and then what we can then do is we can have a little talk about this, because we were right on here, absolutely right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this stream, and then we'll go and have a here we go, and then we're going to have a here we go. Rumble Waters has been here we go for me for 7 days. Exactly. So I'm going to end the stream now. I'm going to go start another one because I want us to go on a here we go and focus in on that. So thank you for watching, guys. I'm going to literally go do it now. Set up a here we go. We can get all over that and we can start bantering the Geordies who are still there. And I'll see you very, very soon. So watch out for the stream. I'm literally going to do it now. Set it straight up, and then we'll jump all over that. So I'll see you very shortly, gang. See you in about a minute or two. See you soon, guys.